Welcome to the Engineers Hub podcast, where engineers come to connect, learn, grow, and get inspired. On every episode, we will be interviewing engineers, managers, technical experts, and industry leaders from various disciplines to share their stories and experience, uncover various engineering career paths, and inspire engineers to do more and be more. This is your host, Mamadou Jallo. Let's get started. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Engineers Hub podcast. I am here today with my guest, Arowa Suliman. How are you doing, Arowa?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
It's the honors are ours. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And I'm looking forward to hearing your insight and just, having everyone else, listeners, to hear your insight as well and your story. Can you, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your background and what it is that you do now?
Yes, my name is Arowa Suliman. I graduated from University of Maryland, Baltimore County as a computer engineer in 2018. And now I am working as a software engineer with Google with Chrome OS.
Okay, that was quick.
Yes.
Okay, so graduated. Okay, you're currently right. Say you got your bachelor degree as a computer engineer, right? And currently working in Google. So, do you mind kind of giving us a little bit of a tour on your journey to, from you getting your computer engineering degree, maybe even what inspired you to kind of, go through that route? Because I'm sure you had other options. So, what inspired you to go through that route, and then how did you end up getting to where you are right now, currently?
To be honest, when I finished high school, I didn't know what I wanted to study. It was hard for me to choose. I studied 1 year architecture
Mm-hmm.
and I liked it. Uh, but then I changed. I changed that to surveying engineering. While I was studying surveying engineering, I was studying surveying engineering back home in Sudan.
Mm-hmm.
And there in Sudan, you have to take introduction classes. Even if you are studying surveying engineering, you have to take introduction in electrical engineering, introduction in computer engineering, and all these kind of engineering. It's just you have to take the fundamentals. Why, as an engineer, of
Mm-hmm.
all these engineering programs.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was doing that, I found interest in electrical engineering and computer engineering as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when I moved here to the U.S. In 2012, I started by taking English classes because I didn't speak English, and then I took that for like 2 years, and then I started going to the community college, and when I started at the community college, I decided that okay, I want to study computer engineering because it's kind of both. And it has electrical engineering, it has programming, so it has more than just software engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And I made my plan since once I started at the community college. I knew that I was gonna go to I want to do my bachelor. So I
Mm-hmm.
was taking classes that actually would be transferable to the university and would
Mm-hmm.
help me in my degree plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the goal. So it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear for me from the beginning. Oh, I wanted to be a computer engineer.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a crazy path,
Yeah.
just going back and forth until I found what I wanted.
So, okay, so what was it about computer? Okay, you mentioned two things about computer. You said that one, it's a little bit of, it's got programming, but it's also got the hard with the electricity. So you kind of were interested in both, right? Are those the things that dragged you, like that kind of encouraged you, just even from the field of engineering? Was there anything like maybe from your childhood or anything like that that kind of maybe led you to that path? You mentioned first you wanted to do architecture, so I'm assuming no. So what was it really that kind of just even guided you to like do serving engineer, or just made you interested in the engineering discipline at all?
Yeah, at the beginning, when I was young, I definitely had a computer, and I was always working with it, and I even had the CD writer and just copying things and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. It was fun, but when I wanted to go to college, I didn't really. Family always wants you to be an engineer, and in their mind, they don't think that computer engineering is actually engineering. They all like, oh, I think civil engineering is the kind of like mechanical engineering. Computer is like, oh, it's like it's not really engineering.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, while I was in college, like when you taking this computer science and electrical engineering, and even when I came here to the US, I took computer engineering classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun, the things that you can do. Like when you write a program and see it working, this
Mm-hmm.
is like it gives you a very good feeling about the achievement that you've done, and you can see things. You can see the result of your work very fast, and it's very like in some cases you don't really need a lot of resources to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very I think computer engineering it's a really good major because you cover some aspect of programming. You learn a lot of programming. You learn about circuits design, and you see that I can actually build things. I can, and then when ideas started to come, I was like, I can actually use this and that and get something amazing created. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, um, okay, now, how? Okay, so can you give us just so okay, you graduated, right? Now, did you just like graduate and then like boom, Google, or like how what happened in between? Like, were you always looking to like or looking forward to working for Google, or did you know like you kind of wanted to head towards where you are right now, or did a lot of things happen in between to kind of lead you to where you are currently? You know.
In college, I at the beginning when I was in my first year and second year, when I was in community college, I didn't think that I can get an internship with a big company, and this is one of the mistakes a lot of students have. It's like, I didn't even take a programming class yet. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot do an internship,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know that they can apply. And sometimes, and a lot of people who get internship after their first year in college or second year in college, and some of them they take after every summer they get an internship.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in community college, I didn't have this idea like, no, I don't think I can get an internship. I need to take classes. I need to learn this. I need to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, doing internship is part of the internship is to teach you what you're gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
and then the end of the internship you get things done. So that's the part of the beginning in my schooling. But then when I started going to college, I was like, okay, now I think I took some programming classes. I finished programming 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I should be getting internships.
Mm-hmm.
I used to apply for Google a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, I didn't get an interview with them. I used to apply everywhere, and to
Mm-hmm.
be honest, it wasn't easy for me. I wasn't actually getting interviews at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to work on and adding some experience on my resume.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, whenever I don't get an internship, I go and reach out to one of my professors
Mm-hmm.
to see if they have a research or something, and they always have something. They are willing to help you and give you the opportunity to do something useful and to help them also in their research.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, yeah, one summer I worked, did a research with one of my professors, and that helped me to build my resume. After that, I started to get interviews, but I wasn't good at interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I used to always go there and not get an offer or get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, interviews, doing good at an interview is a skill.
Yeah,
So you
it
have
is.
to, it's not something that you study on an exam and you go and pass or fail. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that you have to do many times until you become better at it. so you have to
Yep.
practice. And so that's what I had to do. I practiced multiple times, and I had many interviews. After that, I got a job, and one I think my last summer in college, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, no, now I don't want to do research. I
Yeah.
want to get an actual internship. I was so mad. I was like, no, I need to get one, and I had a good GPA.
Mm-hmm.
My GPA was good for computer engineering, and I remember that. Well, I so I couldn't find something
Mm-hmm.
that summer, and I went as usual to one of my professors. I tell him, "Hey, I wanna do an internship. I wanna do research with you." And then
Mm-hmm.
he showed me the research that he's doing, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like this."
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I didn't go back, and I should have told him like, "Oh, actually, I don't want to do it," but I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
And one time he saw me in college. He's like, "Hey, I know someone who needs a person to do a PCB board design." I
Mm-hmm.
took that class in college, but to be honest, when I took it in college, I didn't think that I am capable now to go and work and get things done.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, just give it a shot. I'll do it. And also, I got at the same time I got an internship with another company, working remotely as a software engineer. So I got two jobs working in hardware with this company called Cyclo,
Mm-hmm.
and also at the same summer I got this internship, a part-time internship as a software engineer. And these two helped me build my resume and start my work. Uh, after I graduated, so I worked with these two companies for a while. I
Mm-hmm.
continued with Cyclo after I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated college, I got an offer to work at NASA. And NASA Goddard. So I started working at NASA Goddard.
Mm-hmm.
I started there also as a computer engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing C programming and working on a tracking system, and it was fun working there. I worked there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
While I was working with them, so this is going back. While I was applying for a job, I had my LinkedIn profile, and
Mm-hmm.
I always was updating my LinkedIn, making sure that my LinkedIn is good. And while I was working at NASA, recruiters reached out to me from Google
Mm-hmm.
to see if I wanted to apply to work for Google, and I said, yeah, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's how it started. That's how I got the interviews. That's how I got everything going.
Okay, I see. Nice. So, what can you give us a little bit of an insight of what your day to day looks like now and what it is that you do?
Yeah, before talking about that, I would like to say about also like interviews with companies like Google and Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
or Amazon. And to be good at to do good at these interviews, you really need to practice. Like even if you have experience, even if you think you got good experience, you shouldn't be practicing much because. Uh, you really need to practice with these interviews and give it time and make sure that you can pass these interviews
Mm-hmm.
because they are different than sometimes they are different than other companies. And there is a book also called Cracking the Coding Interview. It's
Mm-hmm.
very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
There are websites to practice called Cramp and Lead Code. These are good resources.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I forgot the second question. What? Oh, maybe yeah, if you can repeat it.
No, no. I mean, no. I'm glad you go into that and the interview skill because, like you said, interviewing is a skill. It's um you might get lucky and do well in the interview without practicing, but generally, the more practice, the better chance you have at doing well, right? Um,
Yes, yes,
so
and yeah, definitely, and like for like to be good at these kind of like interview questions or to do better at that at interviews, maybe if you do like 200 to 400 problems on lead code, you should be fine. And yeah, and it's at the same time, it's at the beginning practicing with this kind of interview question is challenging,
Mm-hmm.
but then it becomes more interesting. Become more like, oh, I can solve this. Oh, I can do this. I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also it's also a skill, like to be more comfortable, to be more relaxed when you are in an interview. It's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. All right. So my question was, what if you can give us a little insight or an insight in what your day to day looks like right now, and what are you working on, and what kind of stuff you work on.
Yeah. So but I'm working as a software engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and when you start working as a software engineer, they show you the project, they show you the things that you're going to be working on,
Mm-hmm.
and you are given sometimes at the beginning to ramp up and understand the code, understand the task, understand the tools that you need to use to get work done.
Mm-hmm.
There is a class called the missing semester of computer science. I think that's a helpful class that people can take online. I think it's available online. It
Mm-hmm.
would help them to learn the tools that you're going to be using. Yeah, so that's one of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as a software engineer, you have to also you're not always just writing code. Sometimes you have to read code. A lot of time you have to read code, understand code, and contribute to that code. Sometimes they are given a task to write. It's rarely like to be given a task. It depends on the project also. To be working in a task just writing all the code by yourself. So usually like you're integrating code with another code.
Mm-hmm.
You work in bugs. So working on bugs, it needs someone who knows how to do troubleshooting, like how to, and also troubleshooting. You
Mm-hmm.
improve as much as you do it. So you have to okay, to figure out where is the problem and solve it. This is just engineering 101.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you work in features. If you think there is a feature that it's going to be helpful or it's going to be useful, you can write a design document and say, "Oh, okay, this is a good feature. I think we should add it," or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so and you always need to be you cannot isolate yourself. You need to be more social at work. You have to be communication is key. Communication is key. You have to be communicating with other engineers, and even if you want to learn about something a little bit far from where you, like there is like a hardware engineer or a software engineer, you can have lunch with this hardware engineer and tell them like, hey, I would like to learn about what you do, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe if it help you do your job better.
Mm-hmm.
And the many people you have and in your team,
Mm-hmm.
it's better. And when I say my team, maybe not just the group the small team, maybe the whole like big team in your company,
Mm-hmm.
and it will help you grow faster. The thing is, like, if you know 20 people,
Mm-hmm.
and you can ask each one of them one question per week, I think that will give you a lot of knowledge, because you don't want to just have two and constantly asking
Going to
them.
them, yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
you will feel okay. Maybe I'm taking so much of their time. But if you have 20, if you have more than that, and you ask each one of them a question, they will always be happy to help you, and you will grow faster. This is just one of the advice that I got from some senior engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, definitely, yeah, communication and and respecting the opportunity and what you do
Mm-hmm.
is definitely important.
Okay. So, I guess this is more so for from the outside looking in. It's your experience so far. Like, I guess since you work for Google now, you've been with them for what, a year now, right? Or
A little bit over a
a
year, I
little bit
think a
over.
year and a half, maybe. Yes.
Okay. So, just tell us, man. Be honest. How's the culture over there? What it's like? So I'm asking you to spill the beans now.
I'll tell you like what I love about working at Google. yeah, there are perks, there are all these things, and I don't even know all of them. But what's important is that you there is a lot of freedom in you and trust in you and in the work that you're gonna do, and they it's a really good environment to work in. It's very inclusive. People from different background, people from different countries, and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And also there is like the management process and things like that. Like you feel like you have a lot of freedom. You can write a design document and propose. You always your voice is always heard.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and learn about other things. So all that it's a good opportunity to be in a place where you have many of the best engineers in your major, and maybe majors also slightly close, like hardware engineers and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it's a good place to work, to get things done, and to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they still have that thing where, if you want, you can spend 20% of your time on like an interest or a side project as long as you're kind of updating progress? Do they still have that?
I think that is still available. Yeah, you can use 80% of your time to work on your project, and also have a 20% to work on something else
Mm-hmm.
that you are interested in. And there are a lot of projects, a lot of teams. Um, yeah, so I think it's not. This is something that you can do.
Okay. That's really cool to hear. You gotta, I gotta ask you you gotta give us an inside loop, you know, since it's not, we don't get this opportunity every day. Um, okay, so when I guess when your interest was built into computer engineering, do you feel like what you're doing right now is where you saw yourself, or do you feel like your experience and everything that you've went through college and internship kind of led you to where you are right now? It wasn't definitely as you had saw it, but is this? But of course, I'm sure you consider yourself in a good place. What would you say to that?
Uh, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't totally understand you correctly. You're saying that how do I feel now about the journey that I had if I go back in time,
Yeah,
if I
do
would
you
do the
feel
same
like you
thing or not?
are you are where you saw yourself? Do you feel like where you are right now is where you saw yourself early in your journey, or not necessarily, but kind of everything you went through kind of led you to where you are right now? Was this kind of
Yeah,
like fully planned perfectly by Arwa, or
that yeah, definitely. I think this is one of the
because you
like
mentioned
elements
you
that
were
I
always applying to Google anyways, so right.
yeah, yeah, as I said, like when I was in college, I was applying a lot for Google and other companies, and I'm so happy to be here. I think this is one of my dreams to be here, but definitely looking forward to do more, looking forward to grow more, and do and have other goals, uh, not just here. And yeah, so I like this saying, stay hungry, stay foolish,
Mm-hmm.
and stay foolish, stay hungry. And then it's definitely true. It brings you excitement in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Always have goals, always have, otherwise, you won't have the energy to really like work harder and achieve more in life.
Mm-hmm.
So goals are important.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question. Is this where you saw yourself, or do you think your journey kind of brought you here?
I think I thought I would just be working with a company. That
Uh-huh.
was my hope. It's like okay, get a software engineering job. I'm not gonna say like I was fighting so hard I was like, oh, I wanted to work at NASA from the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
my schooling. Oh, I Google. I definitely wanted to go work for Google. Apply for Google. NASA, I thought I might not get a job there because I have the green card. I didn't know that people with green card can work. I was a lawful permanent resident. I thought I have to be a citizen to work at NASA, to be honest. And yeah, I think it just kind of happened, especially with Google. They reached out to me when through LinkedIn, and a recruiter reached out to me, and yeah, yeah, I think I'm in a better place where I was thinking I would be.
Wow,
I
that's
was
really
what.
nice. That's really nice. Okay, so I know you already mentioned like being able to problem solve, right, and continuous learning. What other traits do you think are really important for what it is that you do right now? You mentioned a couple of things already, but are there anything else you can add on to that?
I think as an engineer, you need to be always willing to deal with ambiguity. You need to be have good communication with other engineers, and always ready to learn. Like technology evolve, and you need to be always learning and knowing about what's going on. And this is something easy for people who really have passion about computer science or technology in general. But it is actually a must for people who it is a must for people who want to grow, who want to achieve more. Uh, yes. And so yeah, I think yeah, always willing to learn is one of the and communication and dealing with ambiguity. You're not always gonna find a very like described task that okay I know this and that I'm just gonna go solve it. Sometimes you look at the task and it's like oh I don't know what's going on. What
Yeah.
is this? But you're always gonna say like okay I'll take it. You take your chances. You ask for help when you need help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and know how to ask the right questions. This is very important. You know how to ask the right questions. If the question is easy, you can just go and search it up. Just go search it out. If it's something that you think, oh, I did my homework, I couldn't figure it out. It's always okay to go and reach for help. And it's yeah.
Wow, and I've dealing with ambiguity. I've never like I think you're the first person I've heard kind of mention that, but I feel like it's very important. Um, and dealing with ambiguity because yeah, sometimes we want to wait till we feel like we know everything before we get started, and that's not always the case. Sometimes just figure it out along the way.
Definitely. This is something I learned in college. I remember that, especially with computer engineering classes, they give you the homework or the project, and I would just read it, and I'd be like, I don't understand anything.
Yeah.
But I don't give up. I read it once, twice, three times. I give up the first day. I go read it the next day. Sometimes start coding. I was like, oh, I think I know what's going on. So I go, oh, it's like it's kind of a process, and it's not always you're gonna know like uh, everything gonna be clear and obvious. Is yeah, as an engineer, your things could be vague, and then you have to solve the problems in this kind of cases. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Thanks for those traits. Okay. So if you could look back, right? I mean, okay, is what advice would you give to your younger self? Like if you look back to Arwa right now, who's doing architecture, like what advice could you give him?
Architecture. Architecture is a good major. I still have something for art. I love art. I love.
I mean, you as a software
Yeah.
engineer, you still are an architect, right? Because you are still designing systems and things. You just different. It's different type of architecture, I guess, if you think about it that way.
Yeah, architecture is not. It wasn't an easy major. You have to get things done on time. You have to design things, design the building, design. They give you the project. It's like always like every semester I have one or two, at least I think two projects. and there is like yeah, you have to do a lot of work sometimes to get things done and submit your your project on time. And yeah, it is, but it is different than computer engineering. Computer engineering for me is more fun. Yeah, definitely more fun. I think people should really look for what they are really passionate about, and things and they are happy to learn more about and spend the whole day just working on this thing. If you see yourself, oh, okay, I can, because people, architecture is not just like, okay, you're good at drawing, you can do architecture, you're good at this. It's more than you have to try it, and it's good that from first year you will know if you like
Something like
architecture
that.
or not,
Mm-hmm.
because you started just doing projects in first year.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
If you like sitting on computer programming 8 hours a day, you love it, you have no problem with that, you should go for it. I think in college, people while they are in college, they are not there just to get. Their job is to explore and see what they like,
Mm-hmm.
and look for what they like. Some people, they are lucky who knows that, oh, I know what I want, I know what I like. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
college, get what I want, and leave. But others, they get in colleges like, oh, there are all these majors, all these things, and I don't know what I like, and that's fine. You
Mm-hmm.
can go and explore. And some people graduate with a major, work for a little bit, and then they decide, oh, this is not what I really wanted. I think I want something else. It's fine. They go and do a master in whatever they like,
Mm-hmm.
and they continue their life. So exploring is fine. I
Mm-hmm.
think, especially when you just start college when you're like 19,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay to be exploring. It's okay to change major,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and it's fine to finish in a major that maybe is not. Is maybe you think it's, oh, this is not really what I want, but maybe this is what I want for now. Then you can just do a master, and after you graduate, if you think like, oh, I want to switch major, you can just do a master and switch to another major.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's yeah. I'm glad you share. I'm glad you share that because you definitely want to do something that you enjoy doing, and that's something even me. I had to learn. Like I, I did a lot of things in college, right? At some point, at certain point, I was a pre-med. And then I also did research, and I interned. I did design in a design internship, and then I did an application engineer internship where I was interacting with customers and our sales team and reviewing a lot of specifications. And it kind of helped me learn that I like working in an environment with other people. I don't like working in an area where it's like very isolated and by myself. So I kind of like probably working on things that involve interacting with other people and dealing with other people. So knowing that coming out of college, I kind of looked for opportunities that kind of require that. And I'm sure there are other people who are the opposite. But it's very important to really explore and know who you are and kind of where you fit in and what you like to do, and kind of try to find and match that with whatever it is that you're studying or whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Uh, yeah, I think definitely it's okay. It's okay for anyone who's in college who doesn't know what he really wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to switch major, if he wants, it is time. It is the time to explore. It is the time to do something when you have nothing to lose. Like in whatever you do, you gain experience from it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they can take their time.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see yourself in the future?
In the future, I see myself here in Silicon Valley. I see myself doing more, uh, uh, working more in as a software engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the near future, I'm still like, I got a lot to do and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is my goal. The near future is just to focus on these. And me, yeah, I think that's my goal for now. Um, to be, yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Um, what I guess maybe I don't know if you've noticed anything, but this is just a general question. Where do we, in terms of like technology and stuff like that, right? Just from your experience or from what you've seen, where do you think we're headed? Like do you, like just from Silicon Valley, the things that you see that are happening, right? Where do you think we're headed, or that may most majority of people may be surprised or may not be aware of it? Is there anything like that? Have you noticed anything?
Yeah, definitely a lot of people going for artificial intelligence. They are
Mm-hmm.
interested in it, and I think is a big thing. Uh, but in general, like I think people should focus on what they like and what they think they can achieve more at. So whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's working in Chrome, an operating system,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe there's something new called soft robots that I learned about recently. It is in school. It's just all of them. They help in a way. They help everyone.
What
Just
software
like
buzz?
work.
You say software
Mhm.
buzz?
Oh, did it?
Did you say software buzz? You just heard about something?
Operating system. Operating.
Oh,
I said
okay.
operating system. Yeah. So yeah, I think AI is a big thing, and also robotics is interesting. If you see what those people
Yeah.
doing it with in Boston Dynamic,
Yes, I saw.
the robots, and now they are commercialized. You can buy them. And as
They
I said,
are?
also these
Wow.
soft robots, I think they are growing,
Yeah.
and a lot of also new companies working on AV companies, electrical vehicles,
Mm-hmm.
and is also growing. And yeah,
Yeah. EV, AI, robotics. Yeah. Space exploration, space colonization.
uh, I think whatever you do, whatever job you have, you need to understand the importance that you are doing and how is it impacting other lives. Like it's a lot of people are using Chrome OS devices, and it makes me happy when that I'm working on this project with Google,
Mm-hmm.
and it just makes me very happy, and I know how is it affecting all these kids and other people who are using Chromebooks. I think you always have to understand what how important is what you're doing, and that would give you more motivation and help you more,
Yeah.
focus on your work and then continue doing what you are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chromebooks are really nice, honestly, and very helpful because they're much more affordable. I know that like when I started college, I couldn't afford one of those expensive laptops, so like I bought a Chromebook, and it kind of helped me get through those first few years. I was able to
Yes.
do everything. So yeah, definitely. Alrighty, man. I wanna now. I know you had already shared something from me, but I wanna ask more questions, kind of, I guess, for students and stuff like that. You shared a couple of tips, but if we can revisit, right? Um, how do you think, what do you think students can do in order to set themselves up in order to be noticed? For example, if they want to work for NASA or Google, what do you think they can do to kind of help step them apart? And how do you think they can prepare for an interview and be ready to do well?
So I think for I see some computer science major students and computer engineering who always say like, "Oh, I don't have experience," or "I cannot get experience," or something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
think even if they don't have the opportunity to even do research or get an internship.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can always okay. If someone can build his own website, someone can participate in an open source code. There are a lot of ways to show that you are that you have experience and doing something that you started is sometimes is even it looks better in your resume than oh he worked at this company and did this and that. I think starting your own project it shows that oh this guy he can he started this project, he thought about everything, he finished it, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's something that helps, and always apply and make sure that you are reachable through like LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I think is a good tool, and try to have to try to apply more, try to have more connections with other people in LinkedIn, and I think that will help a lot. And as I said, for experience, it doesn't have to be from
Working
a
for a
company.
company.
It's good if you have an internship with a company. It shows that
Mm-hmm.
oh, this guy he was going to work, he did his work, he got the task, and he finished his task on time, and he did good. But
Mm-hmm.
also these kind of this kind of process also can be seen in college. You went to college, they give you homework, you finish your homework, you submitted your homework, you finished all that, and you passed your class. So
Mm-hmm.
that shows the process that oh, this guy he is someone that who would finish whatever work we give him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think internship is good. If you cannot get it, try to do research. If you cannot get research, also just try to do something on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Try to start about research and see if the university will fund you to
Okay.
do the research and things like that.
Yeah.
And be afraid. Don't be afraid to apply. Always apply, and yeah, and make yourself more reachable.
Okay. So what about in terms of the interview? How can they help make sure they're ready? Like I guess someone I guess if you just come out of college, should you worry so much about the technical aspect of the interview or more so like the personal aspect? Should you be preparing for both? And how can you do that? How do you know what kind of questions to prepare for, from a technical point of view?
So for me, I think of applying for jobs. It's a process. So first of all, if you're not getting interviews, then maybe you need to improve your resume. You have to add experience. You have to maybe write it better, make it looks better. Maybe you have to apply more.
Mm-hmm.
So this is if you're not getting interviews, you have an issue with your resume, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to fix it. When you start getting interviews, that means okay, your resume is good. It's getting you interviews. So now you go and practice in your interviews. Try to do better. And interviews, there is behavioral, there is non-technical, and there is technical
Yeah.
interview. For non-technical, you have to go and practice for it. There are a lot of resources online. And for technical one, also you have to go and, as I said, there are websites like Lead Code, Cram, and there is the book Cracking the Coding Interview. It's very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
They will help you with the technical interview.
Mm-hmm.
After you are, if you are getting offers, job offers, that means you are good. You're doing good with interviews. So you don't have to maybe you know that oh now I'm doing good at interviews. Now I'm getting offers. When you get offers, then you just see what you compare and see what is more aligned with your goals and what you
Mm-hmm.
want to do. It's not just always about how much they pay you. It's also about do I like this? Is this something that I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is this also am I gonna grow in this with this company, or am I gonna get what I want to get out of this job?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's as I said, make sure that you know when your resume is bad when you're not getting interviews. You know you're not doing at interviews good when you're
Not
not
enough.
getting offers. So yeah, this is how I feel.
Okay. Alrighty, man. Thank you for sharing those resources. How can if someone has questions, how is there a way they can reach out to you?
I am on LinkedIn. My
Mm-hmm.
name is Arowa Suliman. I think.
I'll put your
Yeah,
link
it
on
is
the
definitely.
episode notes.
Yes. Also, another thing about interviews, you have to be relaxed. You want to know that the person in front of you, he actually wants you to pass. He wants you to succeed. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like you don't have to be intimidated by the person in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And always be communicative in the interview process. Tell them what you think. Okay, you give me this problem. I think I should use this. Oh no, I think this is not a good approach to solve it. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
need to do. You have to talk
Vocal.
about how you are thinking.
Yeah, be
Because most
vocal
of the
about
time they
it.
want to know how you think.
Right.
Not really. The goal is not you solve the problem. Maybe you solved the problem before and you can solve it,
Mm-hmm.
but the goal is to know how you think, how you are thinking to go through this problem and solve it. You might solve it, you might not solve it. But if you show good thinking process, if you show good approach of solving the problem,
Mm-hmm.
this could help you get the job.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I think my one of my interviews, my first job, I was asked. It was a technical question in the sense that the company was one of their products had just experienced like a failure in the field. So they asked me how would I approach to resolving that, and troubleshooting. So I kind of walked her through by talking and asking questions. It wasn't like a one right or wrong answer. So like being vocal, kind of like see how you're thinking through your head is more important. Um,
Yes.
Alrighty. Anything else? Anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
Nothing much. Stay positive in this crazy time. COVID-19 is still around. Stay safe, stay positive, and yeah,
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Marwa. Thank you for sharing all this information. I'm sure it's going to be beneficial to those who listen. And I'll make sure to put your LinkedIn info on the episode notes so that way, if anybody has more questions, they can just reach out to you.
definitely. Thank you.